Hi there, I'm Ann Taylor Pittman, Executive Editor at Cooking Light. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And if you tuned in over the last few weeks when we were pre-recorded, thank you so much for watching. I'm happy to be back live today, and I'm super happy because it's Watermelon Day. I'm going to share 3 fun ideas for how to enjoy watermelon. It's prime watermelon season, so let's get started. So first off, I want to give you some tips on selecting watermelon, storing watermelon, all that kind of business. So I know it's an age-old mystery. How do you select a good watermelon? Well, I actually happened to be in an event a couple of weeks ago where the Watermelon Board was giving a presentation. They gave some great tips, and they're ones that I've tried to follow, and I think I have pretty good luck. So first off, you want to select a watermelon that's heavy for its size. Now, you know, what does that mean exactly? I'd say if you go over to the bin, just pick up a few of them and try to pick the one that feels the heaviest. Pick one that is that surprises you with how heavy it is. Like, wow, that's really heavy for its size. That's gonna mean that it's full of water, that it's really juicy. So that's the first thing. Also, you wanna look for a nice yellow spot on the rind. So the yellow spot is going to indicate that this watermelon was sitting there on the vine, and that where it wasn't getting sunlight on the rind, it was getting that yellow spot. So that just means it's been on the vine longer to get sweeter and more ripe. So those are 2 things you want to look for. Now, when you get a watermelon and you want to prep it, give it a rinse first. The USDA recommends that you rinse all fruits and vegetables before you prep them. That's so that I know you're not going to eat the rind, or most of you won't eat the rind. I'm actually going to talk to you a little bit about that. But as you're cutting through it, if there's bacteria on the surface, you want to have rinsed that off so that your knife doesn't transfer the bacteria into the flesh. So I'm just going to cut this in half, and I'm cutting it in half this way to show you a tip. This is just my sort of janky homemade tip. We eat a lot of watermelon in my house. We go through probably 2 or 3 a week for a family of 4 in the summertime. So we usually have the big watermelons. And the way we always store it, because I don't always want to take the time to cube the watermelon, separate it from the rind. So I'll cut it this way so that I have sort of these nice round halves. And I just store it like this in the fridge. That way I don't have to get out plastic wrap or anything like that. I just store it in the fridge like this, and it will stay that way it'll stay good for 2 or 3 days, just like if you were to cover it with plastic wrap. This is just lazy, easy, and also it saves you from having to pull out plastic wrap. So I want to show you just a fun sort of way to kick up a watermelon snack. There is nothing wrong with enjoying watermelon as is. In fact, like I said, I do it all the time. We eat tons of watermelon in my house. It's a really healthy food. Yes, it is high in natural sugars, but that's okay. It's not added sugars, it's natural sugars. It's also high in lycopene, which is an important antioxidant, and it's a good source of potassium and vitamin A as well. So I'm just going to cut some triangles. This is the way my kids like to eat it the most. I just grab this with a spoon. That's the way I like to eat it. But, you know, the kiddos like to have kind of easy to pick up little bites. So I'm going to cut some triangles here, and you can set these out at a party if the kids are having friends over, if you're having a backyard barbecue, or just alongside a sandwich. We eat this a lot. For lunch, we'll have, say, a tuna sandwich or a BLT with watermelon wedges on the side. So let me show you one way to kind of kick up this snack, add a little more pizzazz to it. So I'm just going to set these here on my platter. Okay, so let me talk to you a little bit about this seasoning here. This is called tahini. You'll find this in Latin markets or in the Latin or Mexican food section of pretty much any grocery store. Tahini seasoning is classic seasoning used in a lot of Mexican dishes or Latin foods. It's just a combination of salt, dried lime juice, and chili. So the chili doesn't add spicy heat per se, it just adds sort of a fruity earthiness that is really, really delicious. And this is great A lot of times in Mexico, you'll see street snacks. They'll have mango or melon sprinkled with tahini, and that is my jam. If you like salt on your watermelon, this is just sort of another expression of that. It's salt and acid and a little bit of earthy pepper goodness. So that's one way with watermelon. Get to know tahini. If you don't know it, it's great. It's so good on so many things. Okay, so let me clean up this workspace a little bit and then move on to way number 2 to enjoy watermelon. Oh, actually, before I do that, I lied. Let me bring this back. So the watermelon board tells me that every bit of the watermelon is edible. And those of you from the South might have enjoyed watermelon pickles, watermelon rind pickles. They're delicious. You can also, I like to get rid of the very outer kind of tough green skin, but you can also use the rind. You can dice it or slice it and stir fry it. So it has kind of a snappy texture. It does soften up when it's cooked. Very mild flavor. Raw, it tastes kind of like jicama with a little bit more acidity to it. So if you want to use the whole fruit, please consider using the rind. Watermelon rind pickles are awesome, and I know that we have some recipes for that we can share. But also, you can use the rind. You can julienne it, use it raw in a slaw, or you can stir fry it. Okay, so let me move on to fun idea number 2, a super, super easy side salad that you can have with pretty much anything. So I have 2 cups of cubed watermelon here. This is going to make 4 servings. You can double or triple this if you're serving a larger group. It's so refreshing. It's so simple, and people love this salad. So 2 cups of cubed watermelon. Then I'm adding 1 cup of thinly sliced English cucumber. Any sort of cucumber will work. I'm using English cucumber. A 1/4 cup of slivered red onion, just for a little punch. If you don't like the raw onion, you can leave it out. And then just a very simple dressing, just to kind of perk up the flavors, of olive oil. That's a tablespoon of extra virgin. 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice, just to bring a little punch. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and that's it. So just fresh watermelon, cucumber. If you haven't had that combination, it's a wonderful combo. A little bit of the onion for punch, but it's sliced so thinly that you don't get huge, big bites of the raw onion. I lied, there's one more ingredient. There's some fresh basil. Now, if you don't have fresh basil or don't want to use it, you could leave it out. You could also use mint if you like mint. It would be delicious here too. I'm aiming for about a tablespoon. And I'm just thinly slicing. It's maybe a little bit more than a tablespoon, but that's good. If you want to add some cracked black pepper, that would be delicious here as well. And I'll just dish this up so you can see how beautiful that is. Super simple, again. A great side dish for backyard barbecue. Great with grilled chicken, grilled pork. Just a wonderful, fresh, super fresh, and super easy side dish. Okay, so that's way number 2. Now, way number 3 to enjoy watermelons is to drink it. And in this case, I'm making something that's akin to a margarita, but it's a little bit different. So I'm making here a watermelon refresco. Refresco refers to the fizzy, sweet beverages that you see sometimes in Latin markets or in Mexico. So this is going to be sort of a fizzy margarita, fizzy riff on a margarita. I have here 5½ cups of cubed watermelon. We're working with seedless watermelon. Fun fact that I learned from the watermelon board. If you have a seedless watermelon, but you see these little, let's see, I'm trying to find one. Let's see if we can get in close on here. You see these little white, what look like white baby seeds. They're actually, excuse me, not seeds, but they are sort of the seed case where a seed would have grown, but a seed did not grow because it's a seedless variety. So it's just a seed casing. Okay, so I have 5½ cups of watermelon here. I'm just putting it in the blender, and I'm going to liquefy that real quick. Doesn't take long. Okay, I think that's it. Just give it another buzz. Okay, and that is good. Then I'm going to put it through a strainer. Now, you don't have to do this, but it makes for a clearer, prettier drink if you do. Let's see. Hang on. Maybe I need to turn it off. Okay, we're just going to kind of go with this. I feel like I always have something that goes a little wonky. Okay. I'm just going to try to pour it with the blender. You know, we're making it work here. Okay. That's hilarious. Watch, somebody's going to come over here and be able to pull it right off. That's fine. Look, I made it work. No big deal. Okay, so I'm straining it. I'm looking for about 3 cups of the strained watermelon juice. And I'm straining it again just to give it a little bit more clarity so that it doesn't have as much of the particulate in it. It's going to make for a prettier drink. Just going to kind of stir it around to let everything kind of come through a little better. Okay, while that's going, I'm going to start mixing some of my other fun ingredients here in this pitcher. So, like I said, this is like a margarita. So, we have tequila. I will start with. We have tequila, 3/4 cup of tequila, 6 tablespoons of triple sec, 5 tablespoons of fresh lime juice, and a little bit of kosher salt actually goes into the drink. So instead of salting the rim, we're putting a little salt in the drink just to kind of bring out the flavors and enhance the flavors.
And we have a question.
Oh, great.
Does it matter what kind of tequila you use? You're using a white tequila, but could you use a gold tequila?
That's a great question. Absolutely, you could use any tequila. I'm using a white or silver tequila here. It just has sort of a crisper flavor. A gold or aged tequila would give just a little bit more sweetness and more of a robust taste. Would be delicious. Anything will work here. But it's definitely, since it's a mixed drink, I would say save the super premium, expensive tequila for enjoying on its own. Since we're mixing a cocktail here, I would use something maybe a little less pricey, since you're not going to be tasting it on its own. Okay, so that was tequila, triple sec, fresh lime juice, a little bit of salt, and then, let's see, oh, that's perfect, perfect, perfect. My 3 cups of watermelon juice, and then I mentioned that this is going to be fizzy, so the fizz is coming. Just a second. Look how beautiful that is. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Don't you love it when things are pretty like that? So this is 2 1/4 cups of chilled club soda. Club soda, seltzer, any sort of fizzy water. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And it fits perfectly in this beautiful pitcher. So this is our watermelon refresco. Let me pour some of these up. I think some of my friends here in the studio might enjoy having a sip of this. 3 fun ways to use watermelon. So I showed you my tip for storing watermelon. A cut watermelon, if you like to eat the big watermelons, it's just an easier way to store it in your fridge. You will need to clear out some room in your on a shelf. But the watermelon will stay good for 2 to 3 days once it's cut. Same goes if you have it cut and cubed and you put it into a covered or airtight container, 2 to 3 days after it's cut. If you purchase a watermelon from the store and it is cold, you want to go ahead and keep it cold. So like basically once something's been refrigerated, you want to keep it refrigerated. However, if you buy it at the farmer's market and it's out at room temperature, you can leave it at room temperature until you cut into it. So there we go. Look at that. 3 fun ways to enjoy watermelon, one of summer's best offerings. So I hope you learned some fun tips today that you can put into use in your own kitchen. I hope you got some great ideas for how to enjoy watermelon for the hot days of summer. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like this post. Please share and like this video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe so that you'll get notifications when we go live. Thanks for putting up with me. Please, if you have any questions, let us know and we'll get back to you. Thanks so much. See you next week.